Hi, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, good morning. So we wait for another few more minutes, then we can start.
Fine, fine. No issues. Can you hear me properly? Like I was wondering.
Yeah, we can. I'm able to hear you properly. Yes.
Okay, cool. That's fine. Okay, somehow the settings is wrong, but still, if you can hear me, then it is. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah, we are able to hear you. Yes.
Today, now I will know the real feedback. If the number of the people attending today is less than yesterday, then I know what to do. Right?
No, no. Yeah, there are almost like say 25 students. I mean, 25 people are there. Participants are there.
So, did you guys have a chance to look at the tutorials that I sent you yesterday? Did you do the homework? I asked that way. Anyone? Ashwin, did you do that?
Actually, no. To be frank.
No, no,
Yeah.
you should have done it. But anybody else?
Yeah.
Anybody who have done? Raise your hand. I mean, have seen at least few videos that from which I was sent. Yeah, Sabri, yeah, then has done it. Nice. Okay, so I see that only one person have done it, right? But I will not be repeating it. Okay, I will not be repeating it because if you repeat it, we will repeat yesterday's class. We will not move forward. Like, I will help you guys out in between when we try to create something. We will keep this interactive. So the idea is that I was planning to make one bacteria phage and a cell membrane in this class. But the idea is not to make it. Idea is not to make a cell membrane or anything. Idea is to learn things. Okay. So even if we are making only one of these two, or we are not making anything at all, if you have any doubts, you can interrupt me in between and everything. You can ask me things so that we can learn while we move forward. Right? Okay. Do you have class today? I mean, today is Saturday, right? Is that a holiday or you have a class today?
Yeah, yeah. Today, SRM is actually working today because there were a
Nice,
lot
nice.
of leaves earlier. So today so that
Okay, that's why it is working.
compensation.
Otherwise, it's not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a compensation. Otherwise, it's not
Yes.
a regular working day on a
Correct.
Saturdays.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, nice, nice. That's really nice. Yeah.
Sir, am I
Yeah.
audible, sir? If,
Yes, you are.
if
Sorry.
time permit, can you recap that following loop cut, knife cut, extrude, insert?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we will be using all these tools while we create something. So I'll explain it once again out there, not time.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
All right. So today is more like a practical of what we have learned yesterday and more things additionally. Shading and everything we haven't covered yesterday. So we will do that also. So basically, first part of today will be creating a structure using all the tools that I have explained yesterday. So on that time we can kind of explain yesterday. Anybody opened Blender after yesterday's session? Anybody opened it? Like other than Sabri, of course Sabri did it. Other than that, anybody opened it? Have you guys practiced movement? Have you guys practiced walking? Yeah. Alpha and one. Okay, okay. Priya, nice. Good, good. That's really nice. I mean, yeah, you need to keep this going, okay? It's just like driving, because when you start learning driving, if you are not doing that for a few weeks or a few days even, you lose touch and you have to start from beginning. But once you have mastered everything, when you know how to do that, then doesn't matter even if you are not doing for a year. When you get a car, you will start driving. That's okay. I mean, that will become muscle memory. Just like that, this is also we have to make all these shortcuts and the clicks and the drags and everything a muscle memory. Then only it will work. Okay. So look for that. Make it a muscle memory. So if you want to do that, you have to practice often. Doesn't matter what you practice. Doesn't matter what you make. Even if you are making nothing, if you just moving around in the viewport when you have some spare time, that's good. It could be a stress busting exercise also. All right, that's a nice way to do it. Keep doing. All right. Okay, Ashwin, I don't think that anyone is any more people are coming.
Yeah, I think we can
Shall
start.
we?
Yeah, sure.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Fine. Nice.
Hema, can you stop
Okay.
can you stop sharing it so that I mean,
Okay, sir.
yeah,
That's okay. I mean, I'll start staring, then I think it will be.
I think I need to make you as host 1 minute. Just,
No, I don't need to do that. I mean, I can just share and see I'm sharing.
okay. Yeah.
I'm sharing. Yes, I'm sharing. See.
Oh, then it's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Just go ahead. Yes.
All right. I haven't opened Blender, so I'll open Blender now. All right. I mean, before we start, and let that open. Let that thing come. Yeah. Before we start, I just want to tell you a few things. I mean, ask you a few things. In fact, what is the system configuration you guys commonly have? Because Blender or any other CG software are so resource heavy that it might take a lot of your system things. Okay, so you need a pretty powerful system to do great things, but you can actually get away with a like small decent system also. Uh, uh, at least something like an i3 latest generation. I mean, not the 5th generation, 6th generation, maybe like a 10th generation i3, 8 GB RAM. If you have a graphics card, really good. Okay, 8 GB RAM. This should be fine. This should be fine for basic things. The difference is going to be when you have a lot of vertices in your scene. If you have a lot of vertices, then it's going to be difficult. If you have then your system might lag. And also while rendering, while converting all these things to a real picture, now we are not adding any colors or anything. When we have to add the colors and add all the light calculations and everything, and when we convert that to a proper picture, it will take a long time if you don't have a powerful system. So that's the only thing. So or anything like that, we can completely get away with even our computer. But only thing is that you should know what to do to not kill your computer. All right. So if you have a less powerful computer and you add a lot of things into your scene, then probably your computer will crash. Okay. What if I were you? What I would do is that instead of making one big picture, I will make several small picture and then combine that in Photoshop or something. That also would work. Or I will work only with very low poly, very low. So, all right. So we will start again with the render scene. This is called as default cube because it's there for default, right? So now, if I want to move around, what should I do? Somebody tell me. I want to see the other side or like rotate it. What should I do? And
One.
one will take me to front view.
Front view.
I don't want to go to front view. I want to like rotate like this. What am I doing now?
R.
No, R will rotate the object like this. I don't want to rotate the object. I want to look around the object. So if this is a cake, then I want to look around the cake. I don't want to rotate the cake and pull the icing down.
Clicking the
Somebody
mouse
said
roller.
something.
Mouse roller.
If I keep the mouse roller, it will zoom in and zoom out.
No, the clicking, not rolling.
Click the mouse. Okay, middle mouse.
Ah.
Okay, it's middle mouse. And what should I do? Middle mouse and
Drag it to the position where
exactly. Yes. Fine. I mean, remember this. So the difference between rotating the object and rotating the viewport. Rotating the viewport is looking around the viewport. Rotating the object is handling the object and rotating it. Okay, cool. Fine. So if I want to kind of move and look on this side, what should I do? For example, I have an additional thing which is on this side of the screen. I need to go to that. I need to see that. What should I do?
Control X.
Control X. I don't know. I don't know what's the what is that. There is no thing called as Control X. At least in this, I want to bring that thing here. I want to look at that thing. What should I do?
Nope.
grab and go to the place. Grab it. Grab and move.
Grab and move will grab this thing and it will move. It will move the object. I don't want to move the object. I just want to look at that. For example, I want to do this. How did I do this?
No, click the center mouse and move.
Click the center mouse and move will rotate. You need to do some other things also. Click the center mouse, that much 50% mark.
Shift.
But Padikanner.
Shift key.
For the Midi Kanner, what should I do?
Shift key. Probably.
Shift key, yes. Click shift, middle mouse, then drag. You are looking around another thing. Get it? Okay. So if you don't walk, if you don't remember this, you are not going to understand anything that I am going to say from now onwards. All right. So remember this. Don't forget this. Write down it. Pick a very big poster and put it in a room or something. See, I'm not joking. When I started learning this, I made a picture out of it and I put as my wallpaper in my computer so that I don't forget it. All right. So we need to do some childish things to start because we are childs when you consider this entire area. You don't know, we are just learning to walk. If you want to learn to walk, you have to put effort. So what I did is that I wrote down few of the important keywords, important process and everything. I put it in my computer. I made that as a wallpaper. So whenever I go to my desktop, I would see that. After some time, it became boring and I changed it to Rajinikanth. Okay. So yeah. All right. I suggest you also do that. Okay. So this is just like when we used to learn integration and everything. I don't know how many of you might have done that. In my school, they were asking us to create a poster and put in our bedroom so that every time we know that okay, sine theta is equal to cos theta, something like that. I don't remember that now. It's a long time. So anyway, I mean, I'm asking you to do the same thing here so that you don't forget. Okay. All right. So fine. What we do today?
Today
What
bacteria
are we going to do
phage.
today?
Bacteria phage.
Today is bacteria phage. So yeah, 1 second. I have unnecessarily added so many elements in the input now. I have a light here. I have a camera here. I have two tubes. How do I delete everything?
A.
Will collect everything and then
Delete.
Delete and another way. Either delete or X. X will ask me, do you want to delete? Yes. Click, you are deleted. All right. Without even before deleting it. How do I go to, how do I look at the individual polygons of this, individual vertices of this cube? How do I look that?
Edit mode,
How do you go to edit mode?
the left top.
Exactly. Let's go edit mode. Okay, cool. Now it's selected everything. I want to select only this vertex. How do I do that? Select the vertex mode here and click on it. All right. Select the vertex mode here and click on it. If I want to select this edge, then how do I, what should I do? This edge which is connecting this vertex and this vertex, what should I do?
We have other options nearby. The connecting the
Yes,
center
this
one.
called as, yeah, this called as edge mode. You collect the edge mode, click on this. You have selected that. Okay. If you want to select this face, what you do?
Again, the third option, the face.
Third option. Yes. Okay. So now I need to move the face up a little bit. What should I do? I need to move the thing up. If I add I, it will create a base inside. That's not that. I need to move this up. Huh? Extrude will create. Extrude will create another one. Extrude will create another one. I don't need to create another one here. I just need to create. Just need to move this up. Go to move tool here.
G.
G plus X.
Move it up. G plus X. So G plus X will take to the X direction. But I get the idea. G plus Z will also work. G plus Z will also work. Or else you can go to the move tool here and move it. Okay. All right. I mean, either you go to the move tool here, move tool, rotate tool, scale tool, or move and rotate and scale together. Remember this. Move tool, rotate tool, where we can rotate things. Scale tool, where we can scale things on different axes. Everything together. Rotate, move, and scale everything together. Remember this. Okay. All right. So all these things we kind of talked yesterday. If I need to add more vertices from here to here, what should I do?
R.
I go. Yes. R will enable
R plus
loop.
scroll up.
R will enable rotate tool. It will not create loop cut.
Controller.
Loop cuts is controller. Okay. When you get controller and you scroll up, it will create as many vertices that you need. Okay.
How do I select which face that I want to create?
You don't create loop cuts on a face. You create loop cuts across the shape. So, for example, if we create a loop cut here, it kind of created this across the entire shape, right? It's not only created on one particular face. Okay. Creating shape line on one particular face is not advisable. If you want to do that, you can use pen tool, a knife tool here, and create a line like this. But this is not advised. Why?
Probably it creates two faces. I mean,
No, it always creates this two face. That's okay. But the problem is that if you put line on only one face, what happens to this face here?
the system will not consider as a. I mean, that 4 vertices box.
Yeah, because there is 5 vertices. Now, if you look at here is an additional vertex. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here we have a face with 5 vertices, and also here we have a face with 5 vertices. So we don't want that. Okay, that's why we don't kind of put an additional pace only in one pace. But if it is absolutely necessary, if you have to do that, nothing stops you. I mean, having one or two paces like this is not a problem. We can always do that. But in general,
Not advisable. Okay.
so in general, you don't actually do that. Okay. All right. And somebody was asking about loop cut, right? So what are the different ways to enable loop cuts? Either you can put Control R and scroll it up, okay, or you can select the loop cut option from here, okay, and then scroll up. Okay. Either way. Sorry, I mean, when you select the loop cut option from here, it doesn't allow you to scroll up and add more data's I think, and it doesn't allow you to do that. That if you want to do add more loop cuts than one, then you want to use Control R. If you select this tool, then it doesn't allow you. Let me see what is this job set. That's different. Okay. All right. Fine. Did anybody have any questions so far? And if I want to kind of add something like if I want to kind of move this out, then what should I do? I mean, you have to keep this space and move this stuff as a second floor or something. Then what should I do? How should I do the extrude? You can click on the face, click E and drag up, it will extrude. Okay. If I want to create something inside it, I click I, create an insert, and once it is created, I can either move up or down easily. Okay. And also I want to have this line as a curved line. Then what should I do? It's a straight line now. It's a 90-degree angle. I want to make this maybe like a curve. Then what should I do? Bevel. How should I do bevel? Select this. Select the edges that you want to bevel.
Control B.
Control B, or go to that bevel tool and just drag. While dragging, you can add more subdivisions by scrolling up your mouse wheel. Right. So now it's become a curved surface. It was a straight surface before, but now it's a curved surface. But for this one, this particular shape, we have a lot of vertices here, but that's fine. I mean, once in a while, it's okay. We will try to avoid as much as possible. But if you really want to have it, I mean, it doesn't matter. I can handle it. So we quickly have something like a building shape. All right. Okay, so these are the things that we have talked about yesterday, and there are a lot more. Somebody raised their hand. Who was that?
Okay. இல்ல அது அவர் பண்ணது டிசைன் அவர் பண்ணது டிசைனரே ஆமா அது அனுப்பிருக்க பாருங்க.
Okay, all right.
நான் அதல ஆட் பண்றேன்.
Questions, then it's fine. All right. Now
சரி ஒன்னு பண்றேன், நான் அதல ஆட் பண்றேன்.
This cube now. With the
பண்ணிடலாம். ஒண்ணே
I'm inside this cube. I need to select this one. How should I do that? Anyone? I'm inside this now. I need to go from here to here. I need to edit this. I'm not able to select this. See, I'm not able to select this. Even if selected, nothing is happening.
We have to come to object mode and then select it.
Yes, you have to go to object mode and then select it and then go to edit mode to edit it. Cool. Fine. Good work. All right, so we'll
அதுல அந்த PDF டாக்குமெண்ட்
date
மட்டும் போடுங்க. 26-27 date.
Sorry, I'm in edit mode. Yeah, look at this. I'm in edit mode for this cube. When I click A, it select only everything on this one.
அந்த இது இருக்கு இல்லையா,
It doesn't select anything else.
இமேஜ் இருக்கு
Okay.
இல்லையா,
I go back to object mode. Click here, select everything, delete.
அந்த இந்த
I don't
இந்த
want
ஃப்ளையர்மா கோபியோட
Alright,
ஃப்ளையர்
now let us
அந்த ஃப்ளையர்ல டேட்
find
இல்ல
out
டேட்
a
மட்டும் அதில்
good
ஆட் பண்ணி
bacteria
கொடுங்க
page.
எதுலையாவது பவர் பாயிண்ட்ல போட்டு அதை சேவ் பண்ணி காமிச்சு சரிங்களா
Okay, so here is a rough structure of a bacteria page, right? A rough structure. You have a head, okay? This head over here on this image is more like an isocuc. I mean, if you look at this are all the thing and everything. So the idea here is not to kind of make an accurate bacteria page. I mean that we can do when we are doing it for other purposes. It's not the idea is here is not to make that, but instead to make something which looks like a bacterial page and it will teach us all the techniques. Okay.
அந்த
So here
ஃப்ளையரோட
and which
ஒர்க்
will
ஷாப்
look good.
ஷெட்யூல்
So if you
அமைச்சிருக்காங்க
look at
போதுமா
here,
பார்த்தா
this head
அது
here
ஓகேனா அதே அட்டாச்
is an
பண்ணிக்கலாம்
icosahedron.
பேக் டு பேக் பேஜ்
Icosahedron is that a sphere kind of
டேட்
thing
இருக்கு
made
டைம்
of
இருக்கு
different triangles.
நான்
Okay.
ஒரு தடவை செக்
And
பண்ணுவேன்
then you have
டேட்
a
இருக்கு
collar, then you have a sheath which is
டேட்
an
இருக்கு
array of different
அதுல
things,
டைட்டில் இருக்கு அந்த ஒர்க் ஷாப்
and then
டைட்டில்
have a base plate and
அது
then
ஓகேனா யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம் இல்லைன்னா நான்
low
மாத்தி
base.
அனுப்புறேன் இப்போ
Okay. So if this is the
Sure.
very basic structure of I think you cannot see it.
போட்டு விடுங்க மேம் இது ரொம்ப சூடாது மேம் கம்ப்யூட்டர் அதான் இங்கே உட்காந்துருக்கேன் வேற ஒன்றும் இல்லை வேண்டாம் எதுவும் போட வேண்டாம்
So yeah, now this
டேட் இல்லைன்ட்டாங்க அதுல இப்போ அந்த நம்ம டேபிள்
this is a very basic structure of how exactly this is looking like. I mean, what is it as a how exactly it is looking like. Now, if you look at here, this is the same thing. Okay, but have anybody seen a bacteria page before? I mean, do you know how a bacteria page look like? We know how our friends look like. I mean, we can draw an accurate representation of them. We can draw how a mobile phone look like. But while we are dealing with these kind of things, especially in an artistic sense, we can have a lot of liberty, a little bit of liberty. If somebody asks you, does it look like exactly like this, that the DNA or everything, then I don't know. I mean, I don't think that so. I don't think so. Okay, we have only some rough idea about the shape of the bacterial heads and everything else. I mean, transparent head and colors and everything is our imagination. We can do that. Anything. So, if you look at the base plate here, base plate is a single straight thing. And if you look at the base plate here, it's have little bit more structure in it. Okay. And the same for the head. The head is a little more even here, but the head here is not that even. I mean, it's slightly elongated, but it kind of keeps that crystal glass look, right? So what should we do? How should we approach this entire thing? We should start by looking at different pictures of bacteria. That's what I told you yesterday. We should always reference images and look at it. Just look at it. How exactly people have created bacteria pages across ages. So if you look at here, this is an excellent bacteria page. I mean, there are several triangles coming together to create one long shape, and then it's kind of there. And here's another structure, several triangles. I kind of particularly like this structure. To look at here, instead of triangles, they have squares here. You have one square, two square, one square here, one square here, and one square here. So which means that there is additional 3 squares on the other side also, and which is connected to the top by 3 triangles. So this is where I told you yesterday that when I look at something, I try to decode the shape of that. This is what I mean. I mean, everything in the nature, everything that you see around can be reduced into basic shapes of triangles, squares, polygons, and circles. Okay. And we create everything is created out of this. These are the building blocks. If that's the case, and then I want to create this. Okay, so then what I need to do is that I need to have 1, 2, 3, and on the back side again 1, 2, 3 squares arranged in a circle in an array, and which is connected by a triangle roof here, and on the back side also. And the same thing happens here also. Here on the backside also. Right? So how do we create that?
First, we need to make a rectangle, and then we can create the number of. You can increase the number of edges.
Okay, all right. I mean, I'll take a look at this. Let's. I can kind of import this as a reference file, but the thing is that I am not going to make exactly like this. Okay, this is just for to look and understand the reference and understand the idea. So I am not going to import this as a reference file. If I was making exactly like this on side to side basis, then probably I would have see. Look at this. Really nice factory page. Okay, if I was to kind of do that exactly like that, then probably I would have imported that into Blender. But since I am not doing that, I'll not import this one to Blender. Instead, I'll just have a look at it to understand how they have built up the shapes and everything. Okay. So where did it go? Anyway, that's right. We'll find it later. Okay. So now I want to create a cube here. That's what Ashwin said. I'm going to follow him. If I want to create a cube, what should I do? How should I create that?
In object mode, A.
A will not give me anything. That's particular. What does particular?
Add.
Add is fine. Add is fine. Add is always there. But let's not go that. Give me the shortcut. Somebody is looking at the notebook. I can hear you. It's Shift A. All right. Shift A. Shift A will give me. Shift A will give me this thing. And from here, I can choose whatever I want to add. I will go to Mesh and you will select a cube. Cool. The cube is here. But the problem with this cube is that cube is even in all directions, isn't it? It has same width, same height, and same depth, right? So for this bacteria page, we need something which is longer, right? We need something which is slightly longer. Here, we need it longer. How do you do that? How do you make it longer?
Extrude.
In the z-axis.
Extrude.
Huh?
Extrude. E.
Okay. If I click E here, nothing is going to happen. Can anybody tell me why?
In edit mode.
You are not in edit mode. Okay. But before, okay, let's go to edit mode. Let's go to edit mode first. Now you are in edit mode. I just want to increase the height of it, basically. Okay, I don't want to add any more substitutions or anything at this moment. I just need to increase the height of it. What I will do is that I will go to the scale tool. Okay, I will go to the scale tool and I will just increase the height like this. About this much is fine. Okay. Now the second order of business. Now we have how many faces on the sides? We have one face here, one face here, another one here, and another one here. So we have 4 faces. Okay. How many faces we need?
6.
How many faces this one have?
6.
1, 2, 3, and on the back side again 1, 2, 3. So it has 6 faces. How do we I add more faces here? How do I add more
By
faces here?
Control R.
There are 2 ways to do that. Okay, either I can put Control R. Not 2 ways. There are multiple ways to do that. In fact, I can add a Control R right in the middle here. I can add a Control R right in the middle here. Okay, and then try to select this thing and try to rotate this in this angle, or maybe select this, and this, okay, and scale it to create this. Either I can do this. This will give me nice results. Okay, this is one way to go for it. Or else, what else I can do is that, what does bevel do? Bevel basically splits one edge to a face, right? So if, for example, if I select this one and I go to the bevel tool and I bevel it, it kind of creates a face here. Okay, we don't need the additional face. We need only one. So maybe that should work, right? Fine. To do that, what I will do, I will select all these edges. 1, 2, 3, 4. All these edges. Okay. Go to the bevel tool and bevel it. See, it creates even shapes all around. Okay. This is one way to do it. All right. So there is another way to do it. I will go back to edit object mode. I will hide this code now. I will add a cylinder. I am adding a cylinder without clicking anywhere else. Okay. If you look at here on the bottom, there is a small menu called add cylinder. Okay. Whenever you add something to the blender, it will give you this menu. But if you click somewhere else, this menu will go. And then you will not be able to retrieve that menu. So don't click anywhere else and click here. Then it actually asks you what is the dimensions of the cylinder that you have added. What are the dimensions that you want? It asks you how many vertices you want. It's actually asking about the vertices on the top and bottom. Now it is on 36. I'll just make it 6. See, it created a cylinder with 6 faces. Okay. Does this like satisfy our needs? Only when you're considering only this side faces, does it look like something we can use?
Yes, this is even more even. I mean, all the sides
Yes,
are
this is
same
even more
size.
exactly. So the idea is that we can approach the same thing in different ways. I mean, nobody is stopping you to create one sphere, one cube, and add faces to it and create a space out of it. It can be done. Okay, but the problem is that you have to be precise in several ways. So when you are if you're adding, I have shown 3 ways now. So if you're adding a loop cut to a cube, you have to perfectly add the loop cut and increase everything perfectly to make it even. Okay, and if you are adding bevel, then you have to make sure that all the faces are evenly sized by adjusting the bevel width. That's also there. But if you add a cylinder like this, it automatically comes with an even faces. You don't have to do anything, right? So it's all about understanding what's the shortest way to get to the problem to solve the problem. Yes, we are facing. Basically, the entire Blender or entire 3D business is problem solving, nothing else. Okay? We have one problem at a time. We have several solutions. Find the best solution, go for it. That's all. Okay. So in order to do that, I mean, if you're see, I am not an artistic person. If you give me a pen and paper and ask me to draw something, I fail miserably. I cannot draw anything. Okay. But if you can give me something in Illustrator or Blender, and I can create something reasonably interesting and that people might look at twice. The reason is that I approach art in a completely technical way. Okay. Every time you want to see what kind of color goes with what kind of color. I don't think that anybody in the right mind nowadays will wear a red color pant and a green color shirt, unless you are Vijay. Will anybody? Don't kill me for that, but yeah, it's the truth. So Nobody will wear that. Because that is not a good wardrobe choice. Even though our wardrobe choices are so personal, we know that certain combinations will not work together. The reason is that there is a technicality to it. There is a science why we like few things and we don't like few things. There is a science on how some photographs are really good and some photographs are not that good visually. Okay, so if you understand that science, even if you are not a skilled artist like from birth, you can still make really good art. It's all problem solving, just like here. Even the shapes and everything is completely problem solving. So we have solved first problem that we need shape like this. So when you look at it again, I really don't. I'm going to delete that other cube. Okay, the cube is also here. So if you are interested, this is how the cube was looking. This is how the cube was looking, and this is how the cylinder. It's almost same. It's fine. It's almost same. But this is slightly better and easy way to handle things. All right. Fine. Now, again, you can increase the size of the letters anytime. And I can actually you cannot do that now. You should have done it like in that menu right there. Now there is no way to create an additional face without adding a loop. Then you should do that. All right. Now we have solved the first issue at hand. So what is the second issue at hand? Second issue at hand is that all these faces are triangles and are converging at the top like this, right? This is a triangle and this is a triangle and this is a triangle and this is converging at top. But in the shape that we have now, it's not converging, it's a flat. How do you change that? How do you change that? We again go to edit mode. Okay.
Select the
First of
top
all,
face and then
select the top face
and then
and then
you need to increase the number of bevels on the cross. I mean,
on you mean to say increase the bevels here?
no, on the face. If that happens, then we can start. I mean, extrude it.
Okay, so like I'm trying. Okay, I'm just trying few things. If I increase the bevels, it will come like this. Okay, cool. This seems working, right?
Yeah.
So I can increase the bevels here, and from to the point that it almost equal. Now it kind of keeps you something like that. Okay, but it doesn't actually make it completely even because it's not converging. There's a phase away, very small phase, but there is a phase here. It's not completely converging. I'll show you. Okay, this is one way. More ideas? See? Ideas are coming in. I mean, don't everybody talk at once, okay? I mean, one at a time. Any more ideas? Okay, I'll show you another idea. Another idea is that I create an insert here, maybe. I create an insert here. Okay. And move that insert up and scale this down. Does it create the similar structure? It creates the similar structure. I can show another way. Without creating an insert, you just extrude it, scale it down. What happened? It's give you the same structure. See, this is what I'm saying. There are multiple ways to approach the same problem. Doesn't matter how you do that, you can always attain similar results. Okay. Now, the only problem is that if you do any of these things, we have to do here and we have to do at the bottom, right? Because it's symmetrical in this axis. It's symmetrical in y axis. So after y, this is symmetrical, right? This, if you look at the shape here, it's completely symmetrical. If you put a line over the middle, then you wouldn't be able to tell which is top and which is bottom, like symmetrical. So if I do that there, then I need to do that here also, the same thing, same steps. The problem with doing that is that when you repeat a step which is already done, unless you are entering values over here, it's very difficult to kind of match the previous, right? I mean, also it's additional work. I mean, who likes additional work here? I mean, I don't like additional work. All right. So I'm going to show you, I'll reset everything. I'm going to show you something very, very interesting. Okay. For that, just bear with me for something. I will select this bottom thing. Okay, and I will delete it. All right. While you're deleting it, it will ask you what you need to delete. I mean, when you're deleting it something from the object mode, it doesn't ask you what you want to delete. Okay, it just deletes. It here in edit mode, when you click delete, it will ask you what you want to delete. If it delete vertex, what happens? Can anybody guess what will happen?
The bottom part will converge. All the
Okay, let's see that. Let's see that. Okay, I'm deleting the vertex. क्या हुआ? What happened here?
whole box is gone.
What happened? Spooky. So what happened here is that there is not much vertices here. So Blender is extrapolating this vertex and forming this line, right? Similarly here, this vertex and forming this line, and this vertex and this vertex to form this line. This line, and this line together forms this face. So if you delete this vertex from here, then it doesn't have a face here, right? Understand? Think about it once more. You have selected these vertices here, this vertex, this vertex. So assume that you delete this and this vertex. If this and this vertex is not here, do you think this edge and this edge will exist? No, because the edge is made by connecting this vertex and this vertex. Okay, if the bottom one is not here, then there is no line. If this line and this line is not there, and obviously if this line is also not there, then do you think that this face will exist? This face also will not exist because everything is extrapolated based on this vertex, right? Understand that? So when you delete something, you should be very careful to know what all it has been connected to. I mean, where exactly all these things connected to. So what I can do, I can another option. So I cannot delete vertex, everything will go here. Another option is I can delete edge. What will happen if I delete the edge? See, I deleted the edge, okay? It deleted this vertex and the faces, but the edges remain. Okay, I didn't delete these edges or these vertices, but everything else gone. Okay, the bottom edge is gone. Since the bottom edge is gone, this face cannot exist. So we have only lines. So that also will work. The next one is to delete the face. Delete the face. See, so now only the face is deleted. So now I'm telling the Blender that Blender, I know that you have created a face here by connecting all these vertices. I don't want that. Please delete it. Right, I've deleted it. Now I'll go to 1. Okay. Now I'll go to that vertex mode here. Now we will come back to this icon here. Okay, this is called a select pose. If you select move box and select on a vertex, you can select only one vertex at a time, or else you need to click shift and select multiple vertices. But if you select this select box and you click on that, you will have a lot of options. I'll create the select box, then actually you can click and drag, it will select everything inside that. Okay. Then once you select it, then you can go back to the move tool and try to move. Right. So now I am in front view and I am selecting all the bottom vertices like this. Okay. And I am trying to move it up. But what happens? See, look at this. Only these 3 are selected. These 3 are not selected. Can anybody tell me why? There are 6 vertices on the bottom, like this. Okay. When I was in front view and I selected these, drag these 3, Ideally, all this six should have been selected because it's in the same position, but it doesn't select that. The reason is that Blender at this view cannot see that there is additional 3 vertices on the other side. So it doesn't select that. If you want to select everything, what you want to do is that come here on the bottom, and on here there is a small thing saying X-ray. You click that. Now you can see through your material. You can see through your structure. See, you are looking at this edge, but at the same time you are looking at the other edge also. If you off the X-ray, you cannot see that. If you on the X-ray, you can see that. Okay. If you switch on the X-ray and then select this bottom, try to move it, it will select everything. See, I hope you guys are taking notes, otherwise it will go over your head. Okay. Now, I'll bring it here. I'll bring all the things here. And keep it exactly in the origin point. Okay. How do I know that it exactly in the origin point? Here the Z should be 0. So I made them in the origin. Why did I do this? I'll come to that. Now, go back to the object mode. Okay. Even in the object mode, it is still showing X-ray. Sometimes I work completely in X-ray, sometimes I don't like it. I will switch on X-ray, switch off X-ray for now, so that we can look at the structure. Now, I already told you that I don't like doing additional work. Okay. Blender knows that I don't like doing additional work. There are so many other lazy people out there. So one basic thing that you should understand is that if you don't like doing something, then there is a large number of people who also doesn't like to do that. And definitely, there should be some smart person somewhere in the world must have identified one easy way to do that. We just want to find that. Okay. So the easy way here is that I am going to add a modifier. Did I tell you about modifiers in the last class? Modifiers are a group of commands which will create a structure for you automatically without you doing anything. Okay, you can copy something, you can like distribute something, you can bend something without doing anything automatically, procedurally. You remember procedurally. Okay, so modifiers are located under this spanner here in this toolbox. Click on that spanner. Click on this add modifier. All these modifiers are available for you. You can explain and try them at several times. What I am going to do is that I am going to add a mirror modifier. Okay. Anything happened? Nothing happened. Okay. So mirror modifier, what it does is that it will take the geometry, it will take the subject, and it will show a mirror to it so that it will duplicate itself on the other side of the axis. So if you are working on something, if you are working on one side, it will automatically transfer the entire edit to the other side. Okay, but now this is flipping on the x-axis. Okay, x-axis is here. I don't want to flip it on x-axis. I want to flip that on z-axis, like this. So if I click here, see, it came back. See, I don't want x-axis. I only want z-axis. Right. So see, off, on. If you want to switch off and modifier, you can click here. Switch off, switch on, switch off, switch off, switch off, switch on. So what it does, it takes this and from the origin point, it flips it around. That's why I kind of edited and move all the vertices on the top here. So if the vertices was, I'll show you what will happen if the vertices are on a different place. So I'll go back to edit mode. If this, and I'll switch on the X-ray mode. If the vertices was here, then it will only the mirror modifier will will do the reflection from the origin point. This is the origin point. I mean, this yellow dot is the origin point of this shape. So it will create, it will mirror from the origin point.
சார் குட்
So
மார்னிங் சார், குட் மார்னிங்.
it won't be complete.
ஒன்றும் இல்லை சார், அந்த இன்னைக்கு HPV
That's
பண்ணுறேன்னு
why
சொல்லியிருந்தீங்களே,
we want to make sure that the
சரி சரி,
end
சொல்லுங்க
point
சார்.
is at exactly at the origin point. Now it will, when we do a mirror of it, it will create
சரி.
one seamless
சரி.
one
நோ
seamless
ப்ராப்ளம் சார்.
continuous pattern.
இல்லை ஆக்சுவலாக நான் என்ன
So
சொல்ல
if you look
வந்தேன்னா,
at the
இப்போ நீங்கள் வர
vertices,
முடியாது சார்னு
vertices
சொல்லியிருக்காங்க, நான் ஃபோன்
are
பண்ணேன்.
only on the
ஸோ
top.
அதனால
There is no vertices on the bottom.
சரி
Why
சரி,
is
ஓகே.
that?
சரி சார், அதான் ஏன்னா அப்புறம் நீங்கள் எதிர்பார்ப்பீங்கல்ல
Because
ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் வரலையே
in the
அப்படின்னு,
bottom,
அதனால சரி
the
ஃபோன்.
geometry is not real.
ஓகே.
It is not there. The
சரி சார்,
modifier
அப்போ மண்டே
what I
பார்த்துக்கலாம்
have
சார்.
put it now is making that for
என்ன
you.
கேட்டாங்க சார்?
Okay, so that everything will be replied, and when you finally do the calculation, you will take account to the calculation. I say now
சரி சரி சரி,
I can do the things that I wanted to do before. Right, I'll go to the extrude.
ஓகே.
I'll extrude this up. See what happens if when I
சரி சரி,
when I extrude this up, automatically the bottom is also getting extruded.
சரி
Okay,
சார். சரி சார். சார் வேணும்னா நம்ம என்ன
scaling
பண்ணலாம்னா, நம்ம
this down.
ப்ரெசன்டேஷன் பண்ணும்போது கூட அவர் சொல்ற மாதிரி நம்ம வேணா, நீங்க அவர் சொல்றதுக்காக வேணா நம்ம
Now one of the
இன்க்ளூட் பண்ணிக்கலாம். அது
most
தவிர வேற எதுவும்
interesting
நம்ம
things
இன்க்ளூட்
in
பண்ண
render,
முடியாது. எனக்கும் அது மட்டும் தான்
I
சாட்டிஸ்ஃபேக்ஷன்.
will go to the vertex mode, select all these
ஆமா,
vertices.
புரோட்டோகால்
See, all these top vertices are selected. Okay,
ஸ்பெசிஃபிக்கா
now
நம்ம இது எடுக்கிறோம். ஆமா, கரெக்ட்.
if you press M,
கரெக்ட்.
it will give you
ஓகே.
few options. Okay,
Ah.
M is the shortcut for merge. You
சரி.
can do that also by going to
Okay.
vertex
சரி சார்.
and
ஒன்றும்
not vertex. You go to mesh
கரெக்ட்.
and merge.
கரெக்ட்.
Okay, if you go to each of these menu items here, it will give you the short
சரி.
code also. I mean, if you really want to,
ஆமா.
if you don't remember what was the shortcut for that, you can always go to this mesh or anything, and right
சரி.
near
அது நம்ம
it will
ஃபியூச்சர் தானே
be,
சார்,
it will
இப்ப
show that
கிடையாது.
okay, this is merge.
முதல்ல
So
மெத்தடாலஜி
now I am
டெவலப்
going to
பண்ணி,
merge
ஆமா, மெத்தடாலஜி டெவலப் பண்ணி டிவைஸ் டெவலப் பண்ணதுக்கு அப்புறம் தான் நம்ம இது பண்ணணும்.
Now what happens? All that 6 vertices which was there previously
Okay.
merged into
சரி,
one
சரி.
vertex in the middle.
ஓகே சார், தேங்க்யூ.
All right.
மண்டே ஃப்ரீயா இருப்பாங்க சார், ஒன்றும்
Doesn't
ப்ராப்ளம் இல்லை.
matter how you reach
Tuesday.
this point. At this point, you
சரி
merge
சரி,
vertices.
ஓகே.
All right. Okay. Now, when you look at it,
Okay.
the front view,
நான் ஒரு
I think
பசங்களை
that
வர
is a
சொல்றேன் சார், நீங்க
little
மத்தியானம்
too
போல
tall for my
நம்ம
taste.
லேப்ல
So I will select all this and I will bring it down a little bit.
ஆமா.
Like this. Okay, this should be fine.
ஓகே.
This should be fine.
ஓ, சரி.
Anybody have any doubts so far?
சரி.
How did you solve this problem? Can anybody tell me how did we
சரி.
solve this problem?
சரி,
We
பரவாயில்ல.
have solved two problems. We have
சரி.
solved the problems of
அது ஒன்றும்
having
பிரச்சனை
this
இல்லை சார், அதுக்கு கால்
converged
பண்ண, அது சொல்ல இந்த அந்த பொண்ணு
place
அந்த
on here, and
எக்ஸ்பிளான்
we have
பண்ணணும்னு
solved that
சொல்லிட்டு இருந்தது
problem
இல்லையா,
of being lazy
அதுக்கு
and
எப்படி
not want to
பண்ணணும்
do
அப்படின்றத
additional
உங்க
work.
லேப்ல
We
வந்து
have
பார்க்க
solved two
சொல்லியிருந்தேன்.
problems. So
எப்படி
how
பண்ண
do
முடியும் நம்ம
we do
இதுல
that?
அப்படி
Can
எக்ஸ்பிளான்,
anybody
ஏன்னா
tell
நம்ம
me?
மேம் இன்குபேட்டர் இருக்குன்னு சொல்லியிருந்தாங்கல்ல, ஸோ இன்குபேட் பண்ணி நம்ம டெஸ்ட் பண்ணி.
Shabiri, where would you give it there?
சரி. அதுலேயே அதில் கூட
Are
ட்ரை
you
பண்ணு.
there?
ஓகே. சரி சார், ஓகே.
I'll randomly pick people if that's the case. Okay.
சரி.
Can you
Okay, Muthu P. Okay, Sabri is there. Sabri, can you tell me? Okay, we started with the problem of this face not being converged in the center like this.
Okay.
We started with a flat face. The face was so flat.
இல்லனா தனியா நம்ம
Okay,
கேஸ்
sir.
எக்ஸ்டர்னலா கேஸ்
We use the merge option. Yeah.
ஓகே.
It was like this.
Yeah.
It was like this.
எங்க இருக்கு?
And then another thing is that that's one problem.
ஆமா.
Another problem is that I was lazy. I don't want to do additional
ஓ
work.
சரி.
Okay. So I did a small trick here.
ஆமா.
Save the additional work that
அது
So what did I
ஆக்சஸபிள்
do?
பண்ண முடியுமா?
Can anybody tell me what it is? Can you tell me what it is?
ஏனா அவரோட இதுல எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு ஆக்சஸபிள் பண்ண முடியாது.
What was the step to kind of reduce these two issues at once?
To get the symmetric
இல்ல ஒரு 48 ஹவர்ஸ்னா கூட
image,
ஓகே, நம்ம
first
டெஸ்ட் பண்ணி
we
பார்த்துடலாம்.
select the mirror tool. We use the mirror
Okay.
tool. Whatever we do up, the same will be getting as a down also.
அதான் சார், மேபி இன்னும் கொஞ்ச நாள்ல
Then
So if you want to get
அந்த
something
மாதிரி
on
கூட
the
ஸ்டார்ட்
down
பண்ணலாம்னு
as a
வச்சுட்டு
mirror,
இருந்தோம். ஆமா.
which axis is
left, right, or up, down, we can use
Ah.
this kind of mirror tool.
All right, nice, fine. And why did I move all the vertices exactly on this line here? I mean, it was here before. Why did I move all here?
இல்ல அதுதான், அதுல வாங்க தான் போறோம்
This one,
கன்ஃபார்மா.
this
அது வரைக்கும் நம்ம
vertices.
பண்றதுக்கு ஒரு இனிஷியல் டெஸ்டிங்கா நம்ம லேப்ல பண்ணிக்கலாம்ல. ஓகே ஓகே
To fit into the origin.
ஓகே சரி சார், நான் அப்ப நான் வந்து பாக்குறேன். நான் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் அனுப்புறேன்.
And how
எப்படி அவங்க
exactly I am
பாப்பாங்க,
looking at the
எப்படி பண்றதை நம்ம
vertex
டெஸ்ட்
on
பண்ணுவோம்.
the
நம்ம
panel,
நார்மல் ஃபுட் இருக்குல்ல நம்ம கிட்ட,
even though it is
பிசிஎல் ஃபுட்
in
இருக்குல்ல.
covered by
X-ray
the
mode.
center.
We
Okay.
use the X-ray
X-ray
mode.
mode. We
இல்ல
move
இப்ப அந்த
X-ray
இப்ப நீங்க
mode. Okay,
இன்குபேட்டர்ல
now
நம்ம
the second
கேஸ்
problem.
கனெக்ட் பண்ண
Come to
முடியாது.
second
நம்ம
problem.
கேஸ்
How do I
கனெக்ட்
do
பண்ண
that?
முடியாது. ஆப்ஷன் இல்லையா அதுல?
We select the
அது வேணா
top
வாங்கிக்கலாம்
face.
சார், அது ஒன்றும் ப்ராப்ளம் கிடையாது.
We use the extrude
ஓகே.
option.
சரி, அப்பனா ஓகே.
Then we scale down to a small
இதெல்லாம் கூட நம்ம
point.
என்னோட பட்ஜெட்ல
Then
கொஞ்சம் இருக்கு,
that small
வேணா அது கூட வாங்கி
vertex
கொடுத்துறேன்.
merged into a single point.
போட்டு யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம்.
Exactly. All right.
நாளைக்கு போடும்போது மேமுக்கு பேரும்
That's
சேர்த்து
nice. I'm
போட்டோம்னா
glad
நமக்கு
that you
அவங்களுக்கு
guys
ஒரு இது
are
கொடுத்தோம்,
following.
கிரெடிட் கொடுத்த மாதிரி இருக்கும்.
Cool. That's
அதெல்லாம்
really
அப்படியே
nice.
பார்க்கலாம் அப்படின்னு.
Okay.
ஒரு சின்ன ஒர்க்
Now,
ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணோம்னா ஏதாவது போகலாம்ல அப்படின்னு பேப்பருக்கா போகும்.
the head is perfect.
ஓகே சார்.
The head is out there.
தேங்க்யூ சார்.
Okay. Now, you can always switch off that. The head. We are ready with the head now. Okay. Now, do you think that the head is little taller? I think it's little taller. I mean, little more. Sorry. This is all preferences, okay? I mean, you don't really have to do exactly what I do. You can do whatever you want to do, because I mean, if your micropage, I mean, look a little different from my bacteria page, it's okay. It's no issue. There are multiple different kind of bacteria pages around the world, and we are inclusive to all kind of bacteria pages. Everyone is welcome. All right. So yeah, we did that. Good work. So what's the next step? What's the next step in creating the shape of the bacterial cage? So what additionally other thing that bacterial cage have? It have a collar. Okay. It have a collar. It have a collar and a small stem which is attached to the collar. Okay. How do you kind of
We can use the cylinder shape, or we can arrange a donut shape one by one. We can make.
Nice. Exactly. So if I add a donut shape now or any shape now, where it is going to come?
Shift A.
Shift A is okay, but where that structure which I am going to make
bottom
will appear.
The bottom of the.
It should come here, but the problem is that if I select a cylinder, it's going to come in the middle here, right? Why is that?
The default position will be origin.
Yeah, default position is not origin, it's a 3D cursor. So what I'm going to do is that, since we know that this should appear above the collar, I'll move this up like this, maybe up to here. Okay. Now I'll create a cylinder maybe. But if you look at the cylinder is very low quality because we have only 6 vertices. Last time we told Blender to create only a cylinder with 6 vertices. So this time also it created with 6 vertices. But 6 vertices is too poor. It was good for the head, but it is not good for the body. So probably we will increase the vertices to 16. It's always a good option to keep the vertex amount as a multiples of 4. All right, fine. Now what should I do?
Reduce the
So,
size.
Yeah, reduce the size in which direction? I mean, it should be like this. So basically, this thing is going till in the bottom, till here. Okay, it's going like this. Or maybe I'll switch on the register and one second. So if you look at this bacterial phage structure, then we have created the head is fine. So this particular column is going till here in the bottom. We assume that it goes till here in the bottom, and then we have an additional sheath over it. Okay, so now this should be longer, but it should not be as wide as the head. Okay, so if you want to achieve that, which direction you need to move?
Z direction.
Is a direction. Okay.
Yes.
Do you want to move or scale in this direction?
Yes.
Yes. I assume that you said yes. So it's a direction. I kind of moved in this direction till here.
We have to reduce the
Okay.
radius.
Reduce what?
Radius.
Okay. If you want to reduce the radius, what should I do?
We can select the face. We can scale down. That one option is there.
No, I'm in object mode now. In object mode itself, we can do that. We don't have to go to edit mode and do it. What should I do? So if you want to reduce the radius of a cylinder, which means that I need to scale it down in X and Y axis, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because the Z axis is the height.
Yes.
So I'm going to yes. And if I want to do that, then how should I do that? Yes. Shift is
X and Y.
No. Yes. Okay. Now,
Yes.
now we have something like this. But do you need it as big as this? I think that it really it's better to start from the origin here. Okay. The trick now. The trick is that for now, I mean, whenever you select any subject, anything,
நான் உங்களுக்கு மறுபடியும் அந்த ஃப்ளையர் அனுப்பிச்சிருக்கேன் பாத்தீங்களா?
the origin is always on the center. Scale this now. It will scale from the center point. You can see a dotted line there, right?
Oh.
That dotted line means that it is scaling from the center.
சீரியல் நம்பர் கரெக்டா இருக்கணும். நேம் இந்த காலேஜ், இன்டர்னல் எக்ஸ்டர்னல் தனியா, இன்டர்னல் மேல எக்ஸ்டர்னல் கீழ எவ்வளவு அமௌண்ட் பே பண்ணாங்க அந்த டிரான்சாக்ஷனுக்கு டோட்டல் அமௌண்ட்.
டிரான்சாக்ஷன் அந்த யூடிஆர் நம்பர் வேணுமா? அது வேண்டாம். வெறும் சீரியல் நம்பர், நேம், எந்த காலேஜ், எவ்வளவு பே பண்ணிருக்காங்க, அது பேமெண்ட் கூட தேவையில்ல. ஐ மீன் அந்த நம்பர் போட்டு டோட்டல் வந்துரும், அவ்வளவுதானே? அப்படிதானே?
இல்ல பே பண்ணது
250 250 போட்டு
இன்டர்னல் எக்ஸ்டர்னல் தனியா.
And then this is a two-step process. One is that by shift S, I'll create this 5 menu. Cursor to the selected. Now the 3D cursor moved to the selected face. Right? Step 1. Not that. Sorry, disregard. Step 2 is that go to mesh. Where is the origin point? Sorry. It used to be here. Sorry, I'm so sorry for this. But it used to be here. It seems that it's been changed. Okay. I understand. So now the first step, what I did is that I selected a face where I want my origin point to come. I put my 3D cursor there. Go back to object mode. Okay. Select object. Set origin to 3D cursor. Okay. Now, if you look at it, the origin point is at the bottom of this thing. So now, if I scale in x and y axis, if I scale in z axis, it's going to scale from the bottom. Right. So I keep it here. Now I can move it up and make it a little more closer over here. Did anybody understand what I have done now?
So doing like this only will makes two objects will be in a very straight line, making it in an origin wise. Because yesterday I tried merging two shapes, sir, it's not able to achieve. Now I get it how it is actually.
Okay, I even now these two shapes are not merged together. Okay, these are separate shapes only. I can independently move this and I can independently move this. These are two separate shapes. It's not a single shape yet, but we will make it a single shape later. But now what I have tried to do is that instead of keeping the origin point at the center and scaling from the center, I have changed the origin point to the bottom so that you can scale from bottom like this. Like this, okay. That's what I have done here. So now if you look at the 3D cursor, it's way off here. I need to change that again by Control S and cursor to where origin. So if cursor came back to the where origin, so that when we add the next one, it will be on the where origin itself. Okay. All right. Now, so we have the center column ready. That much is okay. Now from here, what's the next thing? Next thing is that we need to add a collar. Okay. What can be a collar? What? Just somebody tell me what can be a good collar. So if you look at this image, it's only a collar, and if you look at this image, it is little curved like this. Okay. So maybe we'll create something with a little more shape like this. How can we do that? I mean, what I'm trying to say is that here in this image, it is very basic. It's just one circle and say that's the collar. But here, it's a little more detailed. I mean, it have a triangle shape or a cuboid shape. So let's do this. How do we do that? I'm in the front page, and okay. I mean, since this entire thing looks like a cylinder which is cubed like this, let's create a cylinder first. Control A, cylinder. Move this up until here. Scale this down. Okay. Scale this down. Now, select that thing. Go to the edit mode Okay, now we are going to add little more shape to it. I mean, now this is boring. Now it's just cylinder. It's too boring. Let's add little shapes to it. I'm going to add 2 loop cuts or 3 loop cuts to it. Okay, let's add 3 loop cuts. Okay. And then, okay, now the problem is that my head is kind of blocking that collar. I don't see what is the entire collar. How should I change that? I don't want to see the head, or I want to see the entire collar. How can I achieve that?
X-ray mode.
Anyone? I already discussed it. Either you can go to X-ray mode so that you can see everything, or else you can just go to that particular one and just hide it. Now this is everything is written as cylinder only. Now just rename it as head, and this one as body, and this one as collar. So you select your body, you select your head, hide it. It's not there. Okay. Now it's not there at all. I mean, if you want to see it, then you have to open it. I mean, that's one way to do it. Or else you can go to X-ray mode where you can see everything. I mean, this is usually better for small shapes and lesser number of polygons. The reason is that you will know where you are in relation to the larger thing. So if you kind of completely remove the head, then if you accidentally increase the size of the collar more than that of the head, then you wouldn't be able to know. Okay, so it's always better to work on X-ray. Select this mode. Okay. Now, what I want to do is that I want to select this one circle. With the top one, entire top circle I want, the edge I want to select. How should I do that? I want to select this entire circle I want to select. How do I do that? Anyone? I told yesterday. How do you do loop selection? You click on Alt and click. It will give you the entire loop which is selected. Okay. Now I'll extend this almost up to here so that it is touching the head over here. It's kind of touching the head. So I mean, another thing that a quick tip I want to give you. So when you kind of working on very close something like this, and you do this, and you lost it, and now you don't know where it is. Where is that? And you have to reset your frame. You just need to click sorry. You need to select something in object mode. Select something, then click. Somehow it's not working. I don't know. Okay. If that's not working, then go to view, frame selected. Okay. The shortcut is changed. Shortcut is number pad full stop. So it's like this, and you put number pad full stop. Full stop in the number part, not in the keyboard, and it will frame this. Or else, if you want to see everything all together, then you can go to frame all. It will frame everything. Okay. There are 2 ways that you can do it. I'll be back in the edit mode now. And now I'm just adding some random details, okay? Don't worry about it. Because I just don't want that to be a long cylinder. I just want to add a little bit of thing into it. Okay? Now I'll show you some additional tips here. I'm selecting this bottom entire bottom loop. Okay. After selecting, I'll go to vertex mode. Okay. I will go to select, checker, deselect. checker deselect will deselect uh, alternative vertices. Okay, that's like check is like white, black, right? That's why it's when you select everything and when you run this checker deselect command, it will deselect alternative things. Okay, now it's like this. Now, if I kind of do this, it's kind of giving me this kind of a pattern. Okay, or else I can extend it to give me a spike like a pattern like this. See? Okay. So I'll go back to object mode. I'll switch off the X-ray and now look at it. It's slightly more detailed than the plain cylinder that you used to have, right? Now, question. This one head is fine because we need to see the faces of the head. But here and here, we really don't need to see the faces. Okay, this need to be smoother. And how do you make it smoother? How did we make the border smoother yesterday?
Increase the number of lines.
That's all there. Even it doesn't matter how many times that we increase the number, you will still see this unless you right click and shade smooth. So we are telling the blender to shade this smoother. Okay, that you need to remember. All right, fine.
But this shade smooth and the number of thing that we increase will not be same or like?
So it's not the same. So the thing is that now here I'll show you. Shade smooth is just for viewing. Okay, doesn't matter how this is. This if you look at this particular thing, look at how many vertices it has. It has a lot of lines over here. Okay, I can actually increase the lines maybe 100 times, but still Blender will think that I need to see the faces. So how small the faces are, it will still show you the faces. Okay, so that you will see small squares everywhere. So now we are telling the Blender that take a Blender, this is not a square subject, this is a round subject. So don't show me the squares. Okay, so Blender will change slide, what do you say, a viewing pattern to smoother pattern. That's all. Okay, but you cannot do that in a. I'll show you what will happen if you do that in a very low poly. So, for example, if I add a cube here, okay, the cube doesn't have any vertices on that. I right click, I shade it smooth. Okay, it's tried to make it smoother. Okay, by not showing us the lines, but it doesn't curve the surface, does it? Okay, if you want to curve the surface, then you need to add more polygons, like by bevel or something else. If you just want to see it smoother, that you don't want to see the lines here, okay, then you can shade it. Understand the difference? One is just viewing, and another is really making. Okay, that's the main difference. Fine, I'll shade smoothness. Shade smooth. Cool. Okay. Now what all you have? You have your head, you have your collar, you have your body. What else you need now? You need your shield, right? So how do you add the shield? Just like somebody told me before, we can add a donut, okay? But we don't say donut, we would call it torus, okay? We can add a donut, and we can copy it several times. Fine. That's one way to do it. Let's try doing that. Okay, let's try doing that. Now, First of all, I'll just show you how a donut looks like. You go to mesh, you go to torus. Torus is your donut. Okay. Now, this one have two diameters. Okay. Now here you have add torus wala that option. You don't click anywhere else. Don't click anywhere else. If you click anywhere else, you cannot get it back. Click on that. Okay. Now first it is asking you how many segments you need. You can either increase the segments or you can decrease the segments. See, if you decrease the segment to 3, it have only 3 segments. It becomes a triangle like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. I think this seems to be fine. Okay, and it asks you how many vertical segments you need. That also you can give, and then you have 2 radius. Major radius is the radius of the entire donut here. Minor radius is the inner side of the donut. If you reduce the minor radius, it will become thicker. If you increase it, it will become thinner. If you increase the major radius, the entire donut will become bigger. Okay. So what I want to do is that I want to just make it as big as the thing over here. See, that you can only do here. Once you kind of close this, then you cannot do that. You can only scale it entirely. You cannot change the inner whole David separately. Okay, so make sure that you kind of catch it in the making itself. Okay.
In that case, if we can delete it again, we need to make it 1.
Yes, we have to delete it again. I have to make it 1 more. That's a trouble, but unfortunately we cannot do that. In other softwares like Cinema 4D and everything, it gives you an option to change it later also, but in Blender it's not there. Okay, so now this is a pretty low poly, right? I mean, you can see the vertices and everything. It's kind of curved and everything. So how do I copy this here till Pro? How do I do that? Anyone?
Duplicate.
Duplicate. How do you duplicate it? I told you yesterday.
Control D.
Will duplicate. Okay. So there are 2 ways to duplicate one. I am not going to do this, but I'll tell you the differences. There are 2 ways to duplicate something. Let me add a. Let's make a sphere this time. I mean, we are taking cubes for a long. We don't. It's boring. Okay. We have a sphere here. It is for example, like we have a sphere here. We can either duplicate it by Shift D. It will duplicate it. Okay. I'll just write here. Shift D. Okay. Or else I can duplicate using Alt D. I move it here. It's right. Alt D. Okay. There are 2 ways to do that. What's the difference? Difference is that Shift D will create an entirely new subject, and if you edit the first one, this will not be edited. This is entirely new. Okay, it looks like this, but this entirely new. But if you click Alt D, okay, this will basically create a linked duplicate, which means that if you edit this also will be edited. I'll show you. I'll select the first circle, go to the edit mode, okay, and I select this vertices and try to increase. See, look at this. It edits. So this is extremely helpful when you have like 1,000 different items in a scene. Like maybe you are creating a road and there is a lot of lampposts and a lot of circles and everything. So if you do Shift D, then you need to edit everything individually. Okay. But if you need everything to be linked and edited at the same time, if you add one modification to something, it will add that modification to everything, then you should do alt A. Okay. There will be certain times then when you don't want to do it. When you need one shape in one particular time, a similar shape with a similar differences in the case. In such cases, you do shift D. In all other cases, you do alt A. You understand? Got it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, nice. Okay. So I'm going to delete all this. So I lost the way. I mean, where was our bacteria page? How do I go back? Somebody tell me how do I go back? I lost my way. How do I go back? View.
View framework.
Excellent. Framework. Nice. Okay. So I have shown you two ways of duplicating it, but I am not going to do that. Okay. The reason is that if I want to do Alt D, I need to create Alt D, move this, create another Alt D, move that, create another Alt D, move that. Who will do this kind of this much hard work? I don't like hard work. Okay. So just like Rocky Bhai doesn't like violence, I don't like hard work. I'm lazy. So what should we do? There is an additional modifiers for that. Okay. They could have been like rename the modifiers as shortcuts, if you ask me. So another modifier called as array modifier. Okay. So you click on the torus, you select an array modifier. Immediately what happened? It created one additional thing over here. Okay. But if you select this, there's only one. If there is, I already told you that the time that we add a new object, it will come in your scene. But in your scene, there is no second torus. There is only one torus, which means that there is only one torus. But Blender is making a copy of it and putting it here. Now, I don't want to put it this here. I want to put this on top of this. So what should I do here? This on another relative option, there are factor x, y, and z. Y is x is 1, z and z, z and y are 0. I make this 0, and now that is lost, and I make z 1. See, it's over here. Now it's exactly touching our previous node. Assume that we need to add a little space in between. So instead of 1, you increase this size. You increase this to 2. So then it will have enough space between that so that you can add additional donut here. If you want, if any case that you want to kind of add space between arrays, okay, then you can do this. We can increase the space here at any point that you want. Okay, but for our purposes, 1 is fine because we don't need to see any space in between this. Okay, and now there is only 1. How many we need? We need until here. So let's increase the count. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So the 12th one is slightly kind of overlapping with our collar. So probably we can move our collar a little to the top like this, and maybe kind of increase the size of it so that it covers perfectly. Okay, all right. So everything is just what to say, kind of trial and error here. Okay, so since our collar is now going a load into the head, I'll go to the edit mode, go to X-ray, and select all this, bring it down, select all this, bring it down, select all this, bring it down. Nice. So now it fits perfectly. Okay, now see. Now you have your sheep Now you have your collar, now you have your head, now you have your body. But if you look at the collar here, the sheath here, you can still see all the vertices. So I'll go and shade smooth it. It will make this like this. Okay. All right, fine. So now it looks fine. It looks good. So far it is okay. Now, what is the next one? Do you guys want to take a break here or want to continue? What do you guys say? If you want to take a break here, then probably you can come back after 10 minutes and continue this.
Yeah.
Anyone? Okay.
So 10 minutes.
All right, then. I mean, I think that is a good place to take a break. So we have created the Taurus. Taurus, we have changed the name to Taurus. And one another thing that you should do right after you open Blender is to save it. Go to save. Wherever you want to save it. Just save it. So the problem is that Blender or any other 3D software will crash a lot because these are heavy softwares and doing a lot of calculations. It will crash a lot. So when it crashes, you don't want to lose any kind of any of your work basically. Okay. So you save it wherever you are. So how many of you are going along with me? Are you really doing that or am I going too fast here? Anyone?
No, sir. So it's okay.
I mean, I really don't think that you'll be able to kind of go with me. You can. The best thing that you can do is that you can try these things and take notes, and then we will try it later. I mean, that's the only thing that you can do basically. So basically, if you want to kind of go over everything and buy a case by case basis, then its best way is that you can look at the recordings later and do it. Okay, so that you have the option to stop it and go back and rewind it and do it again and yes. And other than that, I really don't think that you will be able to do that. I mean, it will take at least 30, 40 hours to kind of explain all these things. If I want to explain everything to everyone, I mean, individually. All right, but that's fine. That's okay. That's something that we have to live with. All right, so we'll meet in another 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah, probably 11:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, 30 is fine. 11:30 is good. Cool.